Hello, folks. Welcome to History in Under 10 Minutes. This is your usual presenter. My name is Timothy, and today we will be recapping something different from what we usually do. Now, we march east to a more oriental side of history for the country of Japan, especially in the times of Sengoku Jidai, or the Warring States period. So, the Sengoku Jidai, also known as the Warring States, is a historical period in Japan from the year 1467 until 1615. A lot of famous characters are from here. If you know Oda Nobunaga, yes, he is one of the biggest men in this era, so to speak. So let's get into it and sit tight. It started in Kyoto, where the city was controlled by the Ashikaga clan, also known as the Ashikaga shogunate, well, the people in power. The social structure of Japan was samurai serving samurai lords, known as daimyos, and the samurai lords serving the shogun. There was the imperial court, but they were no more than a puppet for the shogunate empire. One day, the daimyos of the province in Japan saw the Ashikaga clan as old and unreliable. Hence, the first one to take action is Imagawa Yoshimoto, who wanted to unite all Japan and become the next shogun. So, to make his dream come true, he built a massive army to march to Kyoto and destroy everyone in his way. But there was a problem. The way to Kyoto must pass through Owari, which was owned by the son of his arch-nemesis, none other than Oda Nobunaga. At first, Yoshimoto was confident, as Oda was just a regional power and his army quickly steamrolled the Oda armies and the castle surrounding Owari. But then things changed course in Okayazama, as Imagawa Yoshimoto and his men celebrated their consecutive victories against Oda. Nobunaga, with only 3,000 men, dared to fight against the 25,000 strong Imagawa soldiers. They were in luck, as most of the Imagawa soldiers were drunk and without their armor. Plus, a rainstorm camouflaged there at once, giving Nobunaga all the advantage he needed. Thus, the Battle of Okayazama commences. Oda Nobunaga split his forces. The cavalry flanked the main army of Imagawa, planning to strike fast and kill Yoshimoto early on before the Imagawa forces could react. Then the main army of Oda swept up the remaining Imagawa forces that were scattered. The battle plan went smoothly for Oda. Yoshimoto was killed and the entirety of Imagawa soldiers were slaughtered. This was the pinnacle point for Oda Nobunaga's reputation from a regional daimyo into a shogunate contender. After the war, one of Yoshimoto's retainers, Matsudaira Motoyasu, approached Oda Nobunaga personally. He knew the Imagawa clan couldn't survive without Yoshimoto, and decided to switch sides and join Oda's quest to be shogun. Motoyasu then changed his name into Matsudaira Ieyasu and then Tokugawa Ieyasu in order to distance himself from his Matsudaira lineage that was pro-Imagawa as he made his own clan, the Tokugawa clan. Oda Nobunaga, needing allies in the east so he could focus on taking Kyoto, agreed, and thus the Ieyasu-Nobunaga alliance was born. The alliance itself proved its worth by destroying the Imagawa clan right after the Battle of Okayazama, even convincing most of its retainers to join Tokugawa instead. Saito clan, formerly the friendly clan for Oda Nobunaga, and his wife was in the way and was therefore conquered by Nobunaga. The Azai clan was destroyed in 1573 as a result of joining Asahura in their opposition against Oda Nobunaga in the Battle of Anekawa. Then their biggest challenge was to fight against the feared Takeda clan. The Takeda were known for their elite aggressive cavalry, a medieval version of the Blitzkrieg. At the Battle of Mitagahara, Takeda Shingen, a feared daimyo, used his cavalry to annihilate almost the entirety of Tokugawa forces. Tokugawa was forced to ask Oda Nobunaga for help. As Oda Nobunaga rallied his troops, approximately 30,000 strong, he went with the remnants of the Tokugawa forces to face the Takeda head-on. What he and Ieyasu saw wasn't Takeda Shingen, but his son. Fortunately for them, Takeda Shingen had died a year before their confrontation. Takeda Katsuyori, the son of Takeda Shingen, had a reputation to uphold. With his 15,000 men, he boldly launched a head-on attack against the allied forces, but was caught off guard by the usage of matchlock guns by the Oda forces. Katsuyori's elite cavalry were mowed down almost instantly from the barrage of fire, which destroyed the entirety of the Takeda forces. Then in turn, forced Takeda Katsuyori to retreat to Kai, the capital province of Takeda. But due to heavy losses, the allied forces of Oda and Tokugawa easily destroyed the remnants of the Takeda forces, which marked the end of a massive clan. Now that the biggest threat of the East were taken down, Oda Nobunaga focused on marching into Kyoto, defying the old Ashikaga clan. Oda Nobunaga torched the Kyoto citadel to force the Ashikaga soldiers to flee and surrender, which they did. Oda Nobunaga then set up a new Ashikaga government that bowed to him, making his puppet as he went to conquer the rest of Japan. Now, Oda Nobunaga had united all of the central Japan and brought Kyoto to its knees. Nobody dared to defy him as he was the strongest man in Japan. He was now worthy of being nicknamed the Great Unifier of Japan. But in 1582, as Oda Nobunaga was resting in the castle of Honnoji, one of his retainers, Akechi Mitsuhide, massed 15,000 troops and encircled the castle in an effort to capture it and kill Oda Nobunaga. Nobunaga, who had no more than 150 men guarding him, knew that he would not stand a chance. Therefore, he reportedly committed suicide and asked his loyal guard to burn his body so Akachi couldn't behead and humiliate him. After the incident, one of Nobunaga's loyal retainer, peasant who was personally promoted by Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, was enraged that his master has been killed. He mobilized the entire of his army to kill Akechi Mitsuhide and his lineage, effectively destroying the clan. After the destruction of Akachi, he swore Oda Nobunaga that he would unite all Japan and finish his job. He then went to conquer southern Honshu, invading Mori and her allies, including Kikawa, invaded the island of Shikoku, which was recently united under Chosokabe Motochika, then invaded the island of Kyushu, which was under Shimazu and Otomo. Toyotomi also finished the unfinished job of both Oda and Tokugawa by finishing off Hojo clan, which was controlling the gold-rich province of Izu. After a series of consecutive invasions, Toyotomi Hideyoshi finally united all Japan in 1590, finishing the job of his master and becoming the second great unifier of Japan. Toyotomi also dared the Chinese and Koreans by launching the Japanese invasion of Korea, also known as the Imjin War, but it failed and Hideyoshi was forced to go back to Kyoto before he died of old age. This caused a power vacuum and a war of succession in Japan, and thus, the Battle of Sekigahara begins. In Sekigahara, there are two sides, the Western Army, known as the Seigun, and the Eastern Army, known as the Togun. The Western Army was led by Ishida Mitsunari, a known Toyotomi loyalist who swore the power should be his until Toyotomi's child came of age. Ishida himself was more of a Toyotomi bureaucrat and was supported by Mori, Shimazu, Chosokabe, Okita, Kikawa, and many more, mostly clans in the west. While the Eastern Army was led by Tokugawa Ieyasu, who swore technically the same thing, but in reality he just wanted to control Japan himself. He was supported by the Date clan, Honda, E clan, and most of the clans in the east. Initially, the strikes of the Western Army looked way bigger than the Eastern Army. The West fielded 120,000 men initially, while the Eastern Army fielded 75,000 men. But the alliance of the Western Army was fragile. Most of the daimyo and general were more sympathetic to Ieyasu and his rule and didn't trust Mitsunari fully. Before the battle started, forces of Kobayakawa, Kikawa, Ogawa, and others defected and decided to fight the Western Army as part of a pre-arranged plan with Tokugawa Ieyasu. By the time of the battle, Western Army only fielded 81,000 men, while the Eastern Army fielded 88,000, which put the Western Army at a disadvantage. The battle ended in an Eastern Army victory as the legitimization of Tokugawa rule over Japan. The battle marks the end of the Sengoku Jidai as Tokugawa Ieyasu established himself as the third great unifier of Japan. He consolidates his power by becoming the shogun and founding the Tokugawa shogunate. He also moved the capital from Kyoto to Edo, now modern-day Tokyo. At last, the Warring States era and the Japanese Civil War ends. The Tokugawa shogunate brought peace for 260 years, but the imperial court slowly sensed its dissatisfaction, and Western European powers crave for power in Japan. This will not be Japan's last civil war. Thank you for watching.